My name is Joe Dalton, entrepreneur and business coach. Welcome to Breakthrough Brands. Each week we bring you an inspirational story and an insight to the minds of some of the top business leaders, authors and mentors from around the globe. Whatever is needed to make you shine in life and business, you'll find it here.
On today's show we have Barbara Moynihan. Barbara is a presentations training expert with over 17 years experience of working with corporate and SME clients both in Ireland and across Europe. Her clients range from LinkedIn and Twitter to Savills and Enterprise Ireland clients. She's been a TEDx speaker coach on several occasions and delivered a TEDx talk herself in Dublin. She believes that every person, regardless of role or qualification, should be able to stand up and speak with absolute confidence.
How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's always good to have a new guest on the show and someone that has an inspiring life, I should have to say. Tell us about yourself and tell us about when you started off working in the bank to where you led you to now.
So I started working in the bank straight from school, and within probably a month of being in the bank, I knew it wasn't the right job for me, but don't you know the way? I stuck it for 6 years. I left the bank then and I went off to a kibbutz in Israel. I started to work my way around Europe, starting off in a kibbutz, did a bit of work there, and then I went picking grapes in Greece for a few months.
Were you catching the fish in kibbutz? In the kibbutz, no? No. I was working in the plastics factory. Okay. So I was putting plastic flower pots into cardboard boxes. Lovely. Which I absolutely loved. Yeah. And mind-numbing. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I actually loved it because by the time I left the bank, it's a long story, but I had become deeply unhappy. Yeah. So to be in there with my yellow Sony Walkman, do you remember the Sony Walkmans of the 80s? Yeah. The Sony Walkman, and putting the flower pots into the boxes, not a care in the world, not a customer in sight. I was happy out. Yeah. Do you ever feel that sometimes when you're having a day and you kind of go, do you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to just be able to sweep the streets for a couple of days and shut off. And have to think about other things. So you went to France then? I went to Greece picking grapes. Then I briefly washed bottles in Greece, but that was a very short-lived career. And then I picked grapes in France, in the north of France, in the Alsace, and in the south of France. And then I got a job in a ski resort in Switzerland, and I worked there for the winter. And then after that, I was a Platzanweiser. Do you know what a Platzanweiser is? What's that? A Platzanweiser is a person who tells people where to sit. So that was at the Swiss Tennis Open. Lovely. So I had to direct people to their seats. So I travelled forward and backward to Switzerland, back over to Ireland for the next couple of years, and then I came back to Ireland and started temping in the bank. Was it just when you were telling people where to sit, did you learn how to point? Did you? No. So you had to do it. No. And you had to tell them to be quiet. I liked that bit. Silence, s'il vous plaît. Rua bita. Silence, please. Tell me, so you went in and then you went back to the bank. So that was sabbatical leave, was it? No. Okay. There was no leave of absence in those days. So I had to actually resign. Oh my God. My manager thought I was mad. A job for life? Yeah. So your mother in the 80s. Yes. So in recession. Mother was cursing you, she was. Well, it's funny you should say that. My father was shocked and my mother said, fair play to you. Well, off you go. Well, my mother thought, go for it. Yeah. Because it was in the 80s, I remember it was my mother as well. You have to get a job at the bank or get a job as a guard, and guaranteed a job for life. And I remember going, no, I don't want to. Why would I want that? No, I want something else. Yeah. No, my mother was very, very supportive. And so when I came back, temped in the bank for a few years. Okay, so you got back into the bank. Got back into the bank. And I was working in various branches, and then I moved into IT in the branch. Again, all temping. So I do 9 months, and then that was in Allied Irish Banks. And then in the 9 months in between, I'd go and work in the National Irish Bank, which of course is gone now. Yeah. And then I went off to Australia for a year with my now husband, and got engaged on the way back from Australia, got married, temped in the bank again because the money was good.
So everything revolves around your travel, which probably opens up your mind. I always say to anybody, go away for a year, you come back a wiser person because you're no longer in the box. You've seen what's happening abroad and you bring that back into your own education here as well.
Definitely, yeah.
So you've done your travelling.
Yes.
You did your bank, so you did your, would we call it corporate or civil service sort of, yeah.
Corporate, yeah.
And from there, you got into leadership coaching.
Well, no, there was a little jump in between. So I'd done the IT, I'd worked in IT in the bank. I then had my first child and I decided then I'd like to teach Word, Excel and PowerPoint. So I did a teacher's diploma in IT.
Okay.
And I went off doing, what would you call it, I suppose, consultancy in IT. So go into training companies, do a day for them, do a day for a different training company. And I did that for about 6 years. And then, even though I loved it, I was saying I'd love to do something a bit different in terms of training in something other than just the IT training.
Yeah.
And my husband came home one day and he said, I have just done the best course in my life. I said, what is it? And it was a 2-day high impact presentations course. So I contacted the company that he had done the course with and met the owner of the company. I said, look, I want to do what you do. So that was Dale Carnegie Training. And I did leadership training and high impact presentations with them for 9 years up until, so that brought me up to 2009.
2009. Is it what Dale Carnegie says? If you want to conquer your fear, don't sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy.
There you go.
And that's what you did.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
So 2009 then the recession hit and training became, well, I think all kinds of activities like training, marketing, entertaining, they all went out the window with the recession. There was no training jobs going and I decided, look, if I want to have a job, the only way to get one is to make one. Yeah. So I set up on my own as On Your Feet, and my initial focus was helping people to do their elevator pitch, because I just found that when I was networking myself, I'd find that people would be really articulate when you're chatting to them over the coffee at the beginning of the networking event, and then they stood up. I just couldn't articulate it.
It brings up a question then. Yes, we've all been there. We've all done our elevator pitch. A lot of people just, if they don't know what it is, it's a pitch that you have to be able to tell about your business in the time that a lift goes from floor 1 to floor 5 or whatever, and that was
60 seconds
60
or
seconds
less.
or less. Yeah. This must be a fast lift. You haven't been in one in Dundrum, I mean, it takes ages.
Well, this is true. It depends if it's stopping and the shoppers.
It's shoppers on it.
If you're in an office block, it might go up quicker.
So you realised there was a niche in the market. So you've decided then to go, right, I'm specialising in elevator pitches. How did you get your clients? Were you knocking on Enterprise Ireland, or because out there a lot of people kind of go, I can do that myself and on it.
What I did was I networked like a nutter. So for the first 18 months, I networked 3 times a week, every single week, and sometimes I might network it twice in the one day. So I could be at a breakfast event in the morning at 7 o'clock and I could be out again. I know, you're throwing your eyes up to heaven. I know, I don't know how I did it. Yeah. And I just got my name out there and I approached, so I was a member of the local enterprise office, the Enterprising Women Network, and I asked if I could speak at their event. Yeah. So I spoke at their event and I got speaking at events and people got to know my name a little bit. And then I had a website which I'd done myself, which was really appalling. People would say, have you got a website? And I'd say, yes, but please don't look. Yeah,
it's one of those websites you build, and as in the beginning when you're building it, it goes out of date as you're building it.
Oh no, mine was it was a total embarrassment. And then I got a better website. Yeah. And then I started to get a bit of search engine optimization. Then I had a Google AdWords campaign. And a lot of the business then came word of mouth. Word of mouth. But the first, 2010, 2011 was horrendous.
The first, it's people forget it, and we talk about a lot in the show that when starting up a business, we all hear about the success and all hear about how wonderful people are and how much money they've made. It's like I was at a breakfast meeting the other morning while I rolled my eyes. I don't do mornings. I find it difficult to communicate at 6:30 in the morning, probably because my kids are keeping me up all night. I'm an afternoon and I'll work till 3 o'clock in the morning sort of person. And everyone was talking about how wonderful, and I made this and I did this and all. No, there's a lot of hardship that goes into setting up a business in the first 2-3 years.
There is.
Really is. And
then there's a lot of pivoting as well, and you make mistakes. I mean, exactly as you say, a lot of people don't know how to do their elevator pitch. And the people who really needed me were people who were setting up their own business, and a lot of them were, enforced entrepreneurs like myself, because they couldn't get jobs. They said, I'd set up a business, but they didn't know how to articulate what they were doing. Thought the idea of going on a half-day elevator pitch workshop where you get videoed and one-to-one feedback and learn how to do your elevator pitch. They loved it. But they had no money to pay for it. So I was really, really
startups.
Finding it so difficult. So I would typically maybe have 2 people on the course who were paying, and then I would be contacting friends. 6 other people that I knew to come along on the course.
It was costing you money.
Oh gosh, definitely. It cost me money, cost me time as well. But what happened then was I was getting testimonials, and I was getting people who knew people. Who knew people. I remember my first ever one-to-one client, it came in by an email, maybe 7 months into the business. Like, oh my God, somebody has emailed me without me having ever met them. And I asked him, I said, how did you hear about me? And he said his wife had heard me, some friend of his wife had heard me speaking somewhere or something. So that little by little, it takes time.
I think when a lot of businesses start up, and a lot of the consultants start up as well, they go, right, I've got a business plan. What's your business plan? I'm going to get and help startups to build their business. And people go, that's a great idea. And the people that say it's a great idea are the people that are in the pub drinking with them going, that's brilliant. But when you get into looking at startups, they've no shagging money.
No.
That's and you kind of go, oh, okay, let me kind of look at a different route. And you've just said it there a minute ago as well, that you start off doing a business, and in 2 years down the road, you'll be probably doing something totally different, because you've learned from your education of what you've done over the last 2 years. Well,
you see, my speciality had been in the presentation skills training, but I knew in 2010 nobody had any budgets for presentation skills training. They were not going to go and use somebody that they'd never heard of. So I had to build up a bit of a reputation as my own name, as On Your Feet. And then, so when I was about 9 months into the business, then I started doing the presentation skills. And that's where things took off. Now, I still work with people on their elevator pitch, but it's usually through Enterprise Ireland funded programmes.
So with yourself, so you've moved into helping, is it sales pitch presentations, or is it business?
It's a variety.
Okay.
So a lot of our work would be going into organisations dealing with managers who need to present to their teams. Senior executives who need to present to the board. Then you could have people who come in who've got a big sales pitch, and they'll come to us to look at their slides, see what see how the flow, are they clear in their messaging, to practice it out loud, to practice answering questions. So it's a variety. Wouldn't you say it's only sales teams or only managers? It's across the board.
What do you find is the biggest single thing in every presentation that people have a difficulty with that come to you? Is there one thing that...
Yes.
What is it?
Do I have to tell you? Yeah. Too much of everything.
Yeah.
And how to distill it down.
Okay, so too much talking, too much PowerPoint.
Too much talking, too much PowerPoint, just too much information. Overloading. A lot of people are like machine guns. There's no pause for breath. And they've got so much stuff, and they say, I haven't got time to pause because I have so much to get across.
We're just going to take a short break. Are you looking to boost your performance, motivate your sales team, have an all-round structure to your marketing? Get in touch with myself at Breakthrough Brands, or contact me at joe@jdc.ie. And welcome back to Breakthrough Brands. We were talking about presentations just before the break. And you said that people have too much.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when PowerPoint came out first, and it was amazing. And I had a sales presentation course, and it was funny. I laugh at it now. 180 slides.
You were delivering a sales presentation.
Yeah. And this is when PowerPoint first came out, and everyone was. Now it's a selection of just images. And half a dozen images or whatever on it. But that's what I'm trying to say. When people talk too much and come up with too much, or they have too much information to give, and
that's the thing. And the other thing then I think is that most people, actually, somebody asked me a question recently: can you give a presentation without PowerPoint?
I would agree, yes.
Of course you can.
Yes.
But that's the mindset. People think presentation, they're reaching for their slides first, which is all wrong.
Do you know Alan Wise? He wrote a book called The Millionaire Consultant. He's in America. You'll find him on LinkedIn. And he has a group, there's a couple of thousand to get onto his group. And when they meet up, he refuses for them to use PowerPoint. And he says, if you want to do it, there's a marker and a whiteboard. And that's what he goes on. Yeah.
No, it's... I actually don't have a sales presentation myself.
Yeah.
So if somebody asks me to come in and talk to them, I will talk to them and I will ask them questions and find out what's the problem, how it can help, what would the future look like if they solve the problem. Specific questions, but that are guided based on what they say.
You're like myself, I ask what's working, what's not working, and where do they want to be. Now, that's a short version of it. And then I let them talk and see how we get on for the next hour or so plus, and you get it from that. Yeah. Go in with an open mind, a clear sheet. Don't go in with, I know what I'm going to do here. I've got these and I've done this. No, just go in on it. So with your presentations, I was looking on your site, and you've worked with some of the multinationals as well. And your course that you do, is it one-to-one now, or is it you do groups? And I was looking at one of your videos on site as well. How long does it normally take for you to get someone ready? I know that's a long-winded question because we're all individual.
So when we go in company, we work with groups of up to 8 people on a 2-day programme.
Okay.
We also have a 1-day programme. So how long does it take? I mean, to be honest with you, I myself would think I'd think I'm better than the average person, but I every year still do something for myself. So I don't think anybody's ever completely done, but certainly in a 1 day we can get over a lot of the problems with how to open, how to close, controlling the nerves, the mindset around standing up and presenting. And then there's somebody who might come to us for literally, like I had a girl recently came for just 1 hour. She had a presentation, she was speaking at an event for 20 minutes, she had practiced it, and she just wanted to get somebody from outside just to bump her up that little bit extra. And an hour was enough for her. Then have other people who come for 3 sessions of 2.5 hours.
I think it's sometimes people find it easier to talk to a stranger than their husband or their wife about a pitch, because either they don't, I don't know if they got a good criticism or they're not getting true feedback. So it's always good to have an outsider.
Definitely, yeah. Well, you'll have the real positives. No, you're amazing. You couldn't be better. To the negatives. Oh my God, you're not going to give that presentation.
Give that on it. It's like I wrote something down this morning when preparing for the having you on, and it was, if you're not updating your skills, you are falling behind. So never stop learning.
That's true. Yeah. Absolutely true. Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's a crucial that. And what I love about marketing and what I love about sales and leadership, I'm constantly updating, I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly looking at webinars, because I understand that people out there aren't, and people will pay me for my knowledge. Because they're too busy in their own, if it's whatever industry they're in, and they need an expert to come in on it. And that's where you come in. You go in and go, right, I'm the expert, I'm going to get you across the line, and you will look better to your audience.
Yeah, but we always put out, there's something goes out every day in social media. So it might be a video, it might be my own blogs, it might be other people's blogs or their own content. And even just by reading them, you're always learning something new.
Do you think you're getting busier, because people now are getting more into doing video? Because it's conversation. So we were all, before the internet, we were having conversations with people. So we were talking, networking, we were on the phone, we were meeting and greeting, we were having our lunches, and then the internet came on and everything was email and everything was text and everything was blog, and we're sort of evolving back to conversations, and how people now are having conversations is video. And are you teaching people then, saying, okay, part of this, I've given you this presentation that you're going to talk to your staff, but use it to start doing weekly or monthly snippet videos to get your name out there?
Yeah, it's not something. Now, I wouldn't say put myself down as an expert video coach. There's a great girl called Lottie Hearn. Have you heard of Lottie? No. She's very good. So that would be her absolute area of expertise. Obviously, I know a certain amount about it, but I would say to anybody coming in any of our programs that whatever we do in that program, I'd say I'll use the word presentation, but that could be going into a meeting, going into a phone call. Every time you're going in, you need to be thinking of who's your audience, what's the purpose, how will I structure this conversation, presentation, meeting to achieve that purpose, their purpose and my purpose.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it crosses across.
Right across.
Right across the board.
Someone said to me the other day they hate email.
Really?
They've got to the stage that, you know, it's all coming in and people prepare. People say, oh, you know, there's a rule out there. If you get an email, you should respond to it in 4 hours. And I say, no, I don't respond to it. If someone might get an email from me 48 hours, it's not people have believed that email is the be all and end all. It's not. It's a message. Don't drop everything when you get an email.
No. Sure, if you were doing that, you'd never get anything done.
Yeah,
a lot of people now I see would have. Actually, a few of my clients now have their messages set to, I only check my emails twice a day.
Yeah.
If you need something urgent, phone me.
Yeah.
Because if you're in and out an email, you're not going to get anything done at all.
Also, if you could be chatting to someone on an email, I find if I'm with someone on an email and if it goes past 3 conversations, I said, look, let's phone this. I'm not going to.
Right.
You can spend the whole day talking to them on it. So, with your presentation, with the company, how did you tell me about TEDx? How did that come about? Did someone say to you, look, do you want to come on and do a TEDx? How did you pick the conversation that you wanted to have as well in it? And did it help your recognition in business?
So which question?
All 3.
I'll answer all of them. Okay.
All 3.
I had been a big TED fan.
Me too.
I'm sure, yeah. So looking at the TED Talks, thinking, oh my God, they're amazing. And then I had been to a few TEDx events here in Dublin. And then one of my clients did a TEDx talk in Tala. And I thought, I'd really like to do one. And I'd been to TEDx Tala a few times. Now, I'd applied. So that's how I was interested. I'd seen it. I had applied to do a few different TEDx talks, not just in Tala, which is where I ultimately did it. And I didn't get accepted. And having applied 3 times and I was applying for a 4th time, I thought, okay, let's just change the angle here. Because I was pitching an idea that I felt that I had was a good idea, that had come about through me working with people in the presentation and confidence skills.
Yeah.
Though that's what I pitched initially. And then I stopped and I thought, okay, what is it that I really personally bang on about? And I have 2 daughters, one who is very academically intelligent and the other one who is more socially intelligent, interpersonal skills and intrapersonal. Yeah. And the one who is not academically intelligent was always made to feel somewhat stupid in school, and it used to drive me crazy. And that was something that I would bang on about, and I thought, right, I'm going to do my TEDx talk about that.
Okay.
And that was how the thought came about. And your third question was, has it brought me recognition? Is that it?
Yeah.
A lot of people would say, I saw you did a TEDx talk. Now, in fairness, I have it in my email signature. And I plug it whenever I can. But it was on my bucket list, and I'm really proud that I did it. Was it the best talk I've ever done in my life? Possibly not. But I'm happy that I got my message out. What?
Who cares?
Yeah, but look, do you know, and I've had people saying to me, I've shown it to my son or I've shown it to my daughter because they would struggle in school.
Yes,
and to make somebody feel better that, you know, there are 7 types of intelligence and everybody is intelligent, but not just necessarily in the way that our academic system measures.
But the academic system measures us for the industrial age, where we were all sitting in a room or in a factory and educating them to continue on that. But I'd like to think that we're evolving. We
are now, and actually public speaking skills is part of the new junior cycle, which is fantastic. Because
my son is in 2nd year, and the stuff that he's learning now is I was paying money to do a course in it.
There you go. They've moved,
19,
but I still think our universities have a lot to answer for because they don't particularly, depending on your program. Yeah. I mean, my daughter now, the one who the TEDx talk was about, she did marketing and DIT, and they were brilliant. Yeah. From within a month in, they were standing up giving presentations, but they were given tips on how to do them. So a lot of colleges will say, right, you've got to stand up, you've got to give a group presentation, 5 minutes, everybody in the team has to speak. But they don't really give them the physical tools and how to do that.
It's a box tick, isn't it, really?
Which can scar people.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's communication. Everything revolves around communication. And I think, you get introverts and you get people like yourself that is outspoken and confident in it. And it's a mix that you need to to have in the schools, and I think they are evolving. Like there's a school in the States. I was going to send you a link on it, and they don't get the children into the reading or writing. They let them evolve themselves.
I've seen that online. Actually, I think there's one in the UK as well.
There's one in the UK.
So it's all kind of verbal.
But they'll start to read up, and they might be late bloomers in the class, but they're all top graders now. So it's just the new way of teaching. And I love Educate Together over here as well. Right. That's very good on it. Yeah. But look, we're drifting off into a different conversation there. So tell me, going back, you've done the TEDx talk. Do you do international talks as well, or are you mainly focused in Ireland?
I have done some work. So I actually was working in Stockholm last week, working with a team from LinkedIn.
Okay.
So that was more presentations. And I've done some speaking in Poland.
Okay.
But mainly my speaking events would be here in Ireland.
In Ireland. What tips would you give to someone that, if someone was listening to this and they want to know about presentation, or they want to know about the elevator pitch, what sort of tips would you give?
Well, I'd give different tips for both, to be honest with you. So the elevator pitch, I'd say stick to a very simple format and be able to, in 60 seconds, tell people what you do, but include in that sentence a verb and a benefit to the client.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is you need to say why people actually need what you're doing. And then the third part is how you're different. So what you do, why people need what you're doing, and how you're different. Because for most of us, we have competition. And then with presentation, I'd say, again, think about, don't start off with your slides. It's not about the slides, it's about getting your messaging right. So you need to think, who are you speaking to? What do they need to get out of your presentation? And what do you need to? But you're secondary. Give them what they want. And then how will I structure it to give them what they need? Yeah.
It's interesting because you have when you're with Enterprise Ireland on one of these local schemes, it says you have to have your USP, your unique selling point. And I kind of go, when you say that to someone, you're scared the living daylights out of them.
But here's the thing. When I was doing those half-day videoed workshops on how to do your elevator pitch, I was the only person in Ireland. In fact, I'd still be pretty sure to this day I am the first. And then somebody else started to do it. So I changed my thing that I was the only one into being that I was the first person that was doing it. But when I'm expressing what I do, I always say is what makes us a bit different. So I don't say, we're completely different.
Yeah.
Because in fairness,
we're not.
We're not.
Creatures of habit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, know your differentiator. And it might be just even a combination of your own background.
That's what I was going to say. I believe a unique, like you hear all the time, what's your unique selling point? What's this? Your personality. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Who you are. Can I work with you? We all know A, B, and C, but you have to realise if there's a connection between the people, the work will be amazing. If there's not a connection, you don't have anything on it. Yeah,
it can be the people, it can be the methodology, it can be what you do. So with us, we believe it's what we do before we ever sit down with the group. Yeah. It's the extra groundwork, finding out really what they want, not just, here's a one-day course, tick that box, and off you go. Yeah, and then we've a nice little follow-up, which is a secret. I don't want my competitors to know about it. Yeah.
So, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy?
Yeah.
Ooh, gosh, in work or out of work?
What makes you happy?
Cycling. I love getting out on my bike on a Saturday morning, cycling and a coffee with the girls.
I used to do a lot of cycling a long time. Shay Elliott and everything. I was king of the mountains.
No, I'm not a mad mountain fan. Yeah, no, although we do go up in a scary direction, so there's always some cursing up the hills.
Up the hill on it.
And squealing going down.
Squealing, yes. Tell me, we'll come to the end of the show. Mm-hmm. Where can people find you?
onyourfeet.ie. Me and the rest of the team. It's not just myself. I've expanded now. There's 5 of us involved in the business.
And you're based in Dublin?
Based in Dunleary, but we have clients all over Ireland
and abroad.
And in the UK,
And email address if someone wants to contact a company?
Easiest is info, I-N-F-O, why did I spell that? info at onyourfeet.ie. Yeah.
And is there a telephone number if people want to call or anything?
01 254 2206.
Brilliant. Best business advice?
Best business advice, I heard it from a lot of people. And the person who really got it through to me was my very first ever mentor, a guy called Jerry Lawler from the Leo. And it was to stop doing what wasn't profitable. I was doing things that I just was passionate about. But it was like, you have to say, look, it's a business.
Yeah.
It's not a hobby. It's okay to do some little bits that are not revenue generating, but I was putting a lot of time into things that weren't generating revenue.
Like what?
Like that elevator pitch program.
Yeah.
I continue to do it because I absolutely believed in it. I still believe in it, and I know there's people who need it, but there weren't enough people prepared to pay for it.
Best book and what you would recommend for people to read and why?
I have read this book several times, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'm not mad about the title, but it's basically every chapter has a few stories, and at the end of the chapter there's a message. And for me personally, I read that first when I was 40, and I think it did change me. And the biggest thing it gave me, and I'd love to think I do it most of the time, I'm not going to say I do it all the time, but my biggest thing was to, anytime before you start to judge somebody or get into any kind of discussion, stop and think and look at things from their point of view.
Put yourself in their shoes.
Put yourself in their shoes. And I think no matter what business you're in, it's all about people and the people skills.
It's interesting to say that, because I say to people, if you get an email that upsets you or something that disturbs you, don't react on that email right away.
Sleep on it.
Walk away, gather your thoughts, and then come back, and it'll be a total different response. And if it is something that aggravates you that much, pick up the phone and call them.
Yes, or if you are going to respond it, save it as a draft.
Yeah, okay.
Or even send it to somebody who you would know, like, and trust.
Song, we're going to play out with your favourite song, or a song, which I would like to think is your favourite song. What is that song and why are you picking it?
It's Harry Chapin, The Cat's in the Cradle. And are you familiar with the song?
I am, yeah. I can sing it, but I'm a very bad karaoke person.
It's about a man not playing with the son when the son is younger because he's so busy. And then
makes me cry.
I know, and then the dad gets older and the son is too busy.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a nice reminder to all of us to
stop. And that's why I one of the beauties of being self-employed, I get to drop my children to school every morning.
All four of them.
All four of them. Well, some of them are a bit older, but I get to drop one of them to school in the morning. The other one isn't gone, but it's that pleasurable time. It's great.
It's important. It's the small. Make the little memories that they will remember. Yeah,
that's it. It's about memories. It's not about financial gifts. It's memories, yeah. Barbara, thank you for coming on to Breakthrough Brands. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed our conversation.
Me too.
And I shall talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. Said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu.
This show was sponsored by Harris Myers, your sales and marketing agency, helping you develop a better sales and marketing pipeline.